Awesome. Thank you so much for having me here today. I work for, so my name is Tyler Grigsby. I'm a program facilitator at One Common Unity and a member of the DC Out of School Time Coalition. Um, we have worked with Learn 24 a lot and really appreciate the work that you all do. But I'm here to testify about the important, what's that? Um, I just wanted to share a little bit about the work we do and how important I think it is to keep how important the work it is that Learn 24 funds and makes happen, and how we can keep building on it in the year ahead. So, One Common Unity was founded in DC in the year 2000. We work to break cycles of violence and build healthy, compassionate communities through arts, music, and peace education. Over our 20-year history, we focused on transforming DC school climates to incorporate social emotional literacy, restorative justice, conflict resolution, and the arts. Um, and I don't want you to just take my word for it. So I want to share some words from a 14-year-old student who recently graduated our Fly by Light program at Stewart Hobson Middle School. From my experience with Fly by Light, I've learned a lot about social justice and human rights. It opened up my eyes to everything going on in the world. I was a child who had anger issues and trauma in my life, and Fly by Light helped me learn how to deal with it and take control of my emotions. It taught me how to deal with those emotions and carry myself in a more effective way. Fly by Light is a life-changing experience and something that I wish everyone could be involved with. It helps you become a better person, and the people you meet eventually become like your family. Young people like Rose and organizations like ours definitely need the continued investment and support from Learn 24 and the city. Um, And as the pandemic continues, we're definitely really concerned about the well-being of the communities we serve. It's not optional to create spaces for students to express themselves, find supportive community, and have creative healing outlets for the trauma they've suffered in the last year. And at this critical time, we want to not be able to maintain our consistent engagement with students and their families, but also increase support to our communities. Personally, this year I've seen really sharp increases in the number of students who report symptoms of trauma, and I've had an increase in interventions for mental health related incidents. And I've lost count of how many students groups like ours are the only thing getting them through this time. As one of my partner educators recently said, our kids aren't living, they're surviving. And our students need the space to do more than just survive. I just want to thank Learn 24 for your deep commitment to out of school time programming in DC. And I'm here to remind you that continued investment is needed now more than ever. And so, yeah, thanks for having me. Let's increase those investments, break cycles of violence, and give our young people the futures they deserve. Thanks for hearing me out and having me here today, everybody.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing your testimony. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. Commissioners, did anyone have any questions or comments for Tyler? Okay, well, I guess if there are no more questions, we can continue moving on through the agenda. So thank you again for your time and your public comment. Okay. So the next item on the agenda, it looks like we do have enough commissioners to move forward. So let's go ahead and take a roll call for attendance for the record. Okay. So again, for this, due to the fact we are virtually on WebEx, if you can raise your hand and just leave it up so we can continue to count that. Okay. So Commissioner Burke, you here?
Sorry, I don't know how to raise my hand with this format. I'm here.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Commissioner Brown? Okay. Is Commissioner Cliff here? Okay, seems like a no.
Yes, I'm here. I don't know how to raise my hand on here either. Sorry.
Got it. No problem. Welcome. Thank you. All right. Commissioner Crump?
Here.
Thank you. Welcome. Commissioner Garrido.
I'm here.
Welcome. Thank you. Commissioner Harding. Nope. Okay. Thank you. And Commissioner Hill.
Present.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Hecker. Nope. Okay. Let's see. Vice Chairman Holland.
Here.
Excellent. Welcome. Commissioner Jordan from the DC Council.
I'm here.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks.
Commissioner O'Neill.
I'm here.
Welcome. Thank you. Commissioner Peeler.
I'm here, and I think I found the raise your hand icon. If you go to the participants list at the very bottom, I'm going to try it. There's a little hand icon.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. All right. Does everyone see that for the future? All right. Great. Commissioner Siegel.
Commissioner Siegel is joining us shortly. She's having some tech issues.
Okay. Sounds good. No problem. Commissioner Spector.
Yep, here.
Welcome. Thank you. All right. Commissioner Taylor. Nope. Okay. Thank you. And Mila, thank you and welcome. I see you there. Sounds good. Okay, great. So it looks like we do have quorum to proceed. Now, next, commissioners, if we can all review and motion to approve the agenda before we move forward.
Motion to approve.
A
Okay.
second.
Thank you. Okay. Any discussion on the agenda? All right. Great. So now we're going to do a roll call vote. So as we call your name, if you approve the agenda, please say approve. If there are any that oppose, please say oppose. And those who abstain, please say abstain. Okay. Great. So Commissioner Berkey,
Approve.
thank you. Commissioner Brown or Commissioner Cliff,
Approve.
thank you. Commissioner Crump,
Approve.
thank you. Commissioner Gerdo,
Approved.
thank you. Commissioner Harding. Oh, not here. Okay, gotcha. Commissioner Hill,
Approved.
thank you. And Commissioner Hecker.
He's also absent.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, not here. Vice Chairman Holland,
Approved.
thank you. Let's see, Commissioner O'Neill. Gotcha. Okay. She also absent. Okay. Commissioner Peeler.
Approve.
Thank you. Okay. And Commissioner Siegel. Oh, she's having technical difficulties. Okay. Got it. Commissioner Spector.
Approve.
Thank you. And was Commissioner Taylor absent? Or is he? Okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
I believe Commissioner
Walter?
Siegel has joined us.
Oh, great.
Apologies, everyone. This system and I just don't like each other, or I think it just doesn't like me. And normally I don't feel paranoid, but apologies again. So here I am on my phone because I can't get it to work on my tablet, which is weird.
Got it. Well, thank you for joining us. Welcome. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it looks like the motion carries unanimously. So thank you for approving the agenda. Okay, and a draft version of the minutes are also provided. Are there any changes or revisions needed to the minutes? Okay. If no changes, can we get a?
You?
Sorry, go ahead. Okay. Well, if no changes, can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve?
Thank you. Any seconds?
Second?
Thank you. Okay. Any discussion at all on the minutes? All right. So we're going to go ahead and do that roll call vote again. So as we call your name, if you approve, please say approve. If you oppose, please say opposed. And then those who abstain, please say abstain. Okay. Thank you. Now, Commissioner Berkey.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Cliff.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Crump. Okay. Commissioner Crump, get your vote on the minutes. All right. Okay. So we'll move on from that. Commissioner Jordan. Commissioner Jordan. Okay. Okay. Commissioner Harden.
Oh, I approve, but I made the motion just for the record.
What's that?
Oh, I approve, but I wanted just for the record that I made the motion.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Okay. Hey, Commissioner Hill.
Approved.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Hall.
Approved.
Thank you. Okay. Commissioner O'Neill.
Abstain.
Okay. Thanks. Commissioner Poole. Commissioner Peeler.
Approve.
Thank you.
Sorry, there's a lot of background noise, so I don't know if it's possible for everyone to mute if they're not talking. Thanks.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Commissioner Siegel.
Approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Spector.
Approve.
Thank you. And Commissioner Taylor. Oh, not here. Gotcha. Okay. Great.
Sorry,
Well,
this is Crump. I approve as well.
perfect. Thank you. Sounds good. All right. Well, looks like the motion to approve the minutes passes forward. So thank you. So next item on the agenda are the Office of the Out of School Time Grants and Youth Outcomes updates. So Milo, would you be able to provide those updates for us now?
Sure. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chairperson Peacock. I'll start and then we'll have other team members provide some updates as well. The tax checkoff program has begun now that it's tax season and individuals can complete their tax returns for DC individual returns. We're just reminding commissioners if you can help spread the word. Schedule U, Part 2, Line 2, there's a checkoff for the OST office specifically, support of after-school programs for at-risk students. Last year, FY20, we raised $157,000, which we use as part of our grants for the coordinating entity grants. And those are grants to nonprofits that provide after-school and summer programming at DCHA locations. So it is sort of just one of our core grants that we do. And we do target those dollars just to ensure that it is targeting at-risk youth. And that was growth. So in FY19, which was the first year of the tax program, we had $117,000. So and in FY20, we had 157. So hopefully we can continue at 157 or increase the individual taxpayer support. And then just two other updates. One is that we just completed the actually that would be FY20 oversight hearing. Sorry for the error on the deck. That happened on March 10th. So last fiscal year, that happened on March 10th for the DME as a whole, and we roll into the Deputy Mayor for Education's oversight hearing. So that was completed. Prior to that, there was public testimony, of which about 200 individuals, of which about 20 different organizations who are funded by OST spoke about the importance of OST. So about 10% of public members spoke about the importance of OST. Some of those groups include PAVE, Empower Ed, DC Action for Children, Fight for Children, Fair Chance, and then a whole host of grantees from Higher Achievement, DC Scores, Reading Partners, Kid Power, Global Kids, Jubilee Housing, After School All Stars, DC Strings Workshop, Fresh Farm, One Common Unity, Latin American Youth Center, and then some non-grantees or future grantees, I should say, like Life Pieces to Masterpieces, Youth Sports Collaborative, and I think one other grantee I'm missing is Sitar Art Center also testified. So a lot of folks talked about the importance of OST at the oversight hearing and prep for the budget season. But in general, there were no sort of complaints on our end from the OST office or Learn 24, and really the request was for additional funding. And thank you for leaving FY21 flat funding compared to 20 and 21. So that's just an overview from the hearing as the team and I listened and watched. And then the budget hearing, so the FY22 budget hearing currently is scheduled for May 6th, and that again is for the entire Deputy Mayor for Education's office, which will be just one component of the budget on that hearing that day. I will pass it off to the next team. Actually, I'll take questions first from commissioners if there's any questions before I pass it off to Kevin Catalda to talk about the Institute.
This is Vanessa, and I have a question about for FY22, if there is going to be any proposals around out of school time programs and the requirement for them to address learning loss.
That is a great question, and I'm just going to pin that if you don't mind, because Von Nia can actually provide an update when she gets to the grants program.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any other questions? Okay, Kevin, I'm going to pass it to you.
Great. Thank you, Mila. Hello, everyone. For the Institute updates that I have for you. Thus far in our fiscal 21 year, we've hosted 24 events. Very well received. Of course, everything is still virtual in regards to the event platform. And currently we have 178 unduplicated number of attendees that's participated in events currently in our fiscal 21. A big piece of the work that we're taking on with the Institute as well is the actual conducting the grantee program site visits, which of course, you know, as everything has come in-house to the OST office. It's been very interesting. We've been really busy. To start with, we created the program site visit tool to continue introducing the quality work that we've been providing over the past almost 4 years now to our grantees. So the tool itself has many of the YCART program quality indicators that actually can mesh well in a virtual environment right now. And we're going to probably tweak it a little bit, but at least we're getting going with that, and it's working very well thus far. We've completed actually 31 site visits to date. We have 17 site visits scheduled for the next couple of weeks, and we have just about 36 more site visits that we're working on to schedule through communication with all of our grantees. It's been very exciting. Virtually has been very interesting as well. But we are finding that youth are engaging and being active throughout their lessons. And staff has been awesome. I literally just got off of one site visit like 5 minutes before our meeting this evening. And it's really great to see the interactions and how staff is still really supporting our youth in this virtual environment. There's great connections going on in regards to their activities, the goals, and their lesson plans as well. And the connection kind of is explained, really clearly by staff. And youth are really getting what the goals are in regards to the program and the activities. And most of the site visits are starting and ending on time as well, which is good to see. So occasionally there's a little tech issue, or there might be a student that comes in a little bit late. But overall, we have not seen it had any concerns in regards to like really late starts or ending like much later than what the program should be overall. So just a couple updates on that. I definitely welcome any of our commissioners that would like to sit in with us, or any one of my team members on a site visit that we have scheduled. Feel free to email me. And I think you'll have a good time. I'm excited just to be able to start seeing kids again, even though it's in a virtual setting. But those are the updates that I have for the Institute. And I can open up for questions.
I have a question. So can you tell us how the number of events and the number of attendees compares for FY21 versus FY20?
That's a good question, Commissioner. Of course, originally FY20, it was really before pre-COVID. And then, of course, when we hit into the virtual world, our events went all the way up to like 93 for the whole year. But virtual makes it so much easier. It's quicker to coordinate as well. And I think we're on track even for this fiscal year. And this is, of course, just first quarter, close to first quarter numbers right now that we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kevin,
Mm-hmm.
I would be very interested in joining you for a site visit, in that I'm curious as to how you measure attention, interest, and kids really participating and staff interacting with them in a virtual setting, because so much of a site visit has always been really getting a feel for the physical space as well. So I'd really be delighted to join you for one of them.
Great. Okay, and we'll connect, and then I can let you know some of the upcoming ones, and in the program names as well. Thank you. Yes.
As long as we don't have to do it on WebEx, I will be delighted.
Kevin,
yes,
as well. So if you could just, I think it would be really helpful if once you get clear on the calendar for the next couple of weeks, just shoot what is available, circulate that around. I think it'd be easier if we're able to just kind of opt into something that works for us.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks so much. And yes, we'll get everything coordinated. And it'll be exciting for and also we can connect afterwards if you just want to debrief as well in regards to what our observations were. So with that, I'm going to introduce Vania Bowie, and go ahead and take it away, Vania.
Thank you, Kevin. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Vania Bowie, a Supervisory Grants Management Specialist, new to Learn24. Very excited to be here at my first commission meeting. Thank you very much. Can we go to the next slide? Thank you all very much. I really have appreciated my time here and look forward to working with all of you and the team. So I will be working and supporting and managing our sort of grants management team as we transition all of our grants from United Way. I think Kevin mentioned that. So that has been very exciting as we bring all of our grants in-house. So I'm going to give a few school year updates, and then I will move sort of through a few slides here, and then if it's okay, take questions at the end. So a few success stories, I would say we've been getting reports back from programs. We have had site visits going on. So there have been some really good reporting that we've gotten into the office. One story that I would like to share in regards to programming that's going on virtually is of Kofi. He's a 17-year-old student who began programming and was very shy at the start of programming. After attending virtual programming, this student really honed in what it says in what's written about him as a natural skill for making music. And he was able to work in conjunction with one of our grantees to really hone in on that skill. And although virtually was able to produce several songs and even had a video that was showcased. And I thought it was very good since we had a link to the video with the music to share it here in the deck. Hopefully there's a clickable link that you will be able to use. I listened to the song a few times today, and I think it's great. It really just goes to show what our programs are doing out there and supporting students and you know, their skills. Another story that I would just quickly like to share is about a student who had autism and was working with his younger brother. They were working together in programming and were able to receive some devices so that they didn't have to share their devices, as they worked in the same room. And this story was about how different organizations in the community had come together to support our families during difficult times. And it was just a reminder of how our community has really banded together, and we're getting a lot of those stories as we get feedback from grantees, as well as seeing some of the work that is done in the field with our program site visits. Program site visits for school year have been ongoing. As Kevin mentioned, we have been doing virtual program site visits. We have had the support of Kevin and his team who are doing the site visits and working virtually using a guide, a rubric to measure and observe programming that is happening virtually. So it's really good to see those site visits going on and getting feedback from our observers about what's going on in programming. There is also programs continue to provide virtual and in-person programming. Some programs have discussed a pivot even now to end out the school year for in-person programming. We even had a meeting today for office hours and took a survey and asked about how many grantees are at least having the conversation around in-person programming. And we've seen that those conversations are absolutely happening. So, you know, we foresee hybrid programming continuing, but grantees are really looking to tap into in-person programming moving forward to round out the year, and absolutely for summer programming, which we'll talk a little bit about a little bit more. Lastly, as I mentioned earlier, we have been having ongoing office hours, and we'll continue to have office hours with grantees monthly. So we originally had our school year grantees in our office hours. Today, we had our school year and our summer awardees in our office hours, and we will continue to have that and discuss topics that they are interested in, discuss partnerships and other opportunities during those office hours. So if there are any topics or anything that come about from any of our commissioners, feel free to also send those our way. Okay, quick overview of our Summer Strong grants. So Summer Strong grants, there were 38 organizations to receive grants up to $2,927,199. There were 9 small nonprofits, what we call our SMPs, 4 coordinating entities who work with DCHA and DHS youth in their housing developments, and 10 are new grantees. So overall, there are 10 new grantees who will be in Summer Strong. 33 of those grantees are year-round and will provide summer programming. And then we are partnered with DCPS to support the Summer Acceleration Academies. The Summer Acceleration Academies for DCPS are in-person programs. As of right now, they're planning to have them anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, from what I understand. And we have provided the information to grantees. The grantees who were already interested in working in DCPS sites have hopefully begun having conversations with DCPS principals around what programming might look like for summer. So we are looking to support grantees and whatever they may need as far as resources in order, and working with them and combining them. Even today, DCPS attended our office hours to talk about the potential for programming. So we'll continue to keep you informed about that as grantees look to support DCPS with the Acceleration Academies for in-person programming. Okay, school year 2022 RFA. Wow. So school year grant competitions to be released in late April. There will be 3 competitions: the year-round invitation only, the OST, and small nonprofit. We will need assistance from our commissioners with recruiting reviewers. We always need as many quality reviewers as possible and hope that we can get the word out as far and as wide to folks who are interested in spending some of their time in contributing to reviewing our application. So please get the word out there. We definitely are interested in as many quality reviewers as we can get. They are very helpful in ensuring that we do the good work. And with that,
Vanya, can you respond to Commissioner Jerido's question about whether or not the school year 22 RFA will have a focus on learning loss?
Yes, it will have a focus on learning loss. We want to ensure that it's something that we address. Mila, if I'm missing something specific, please help me out, but I want to make sure that I touch on it.
I guess I just wanted to know if it was like, if it's going to be part of like the requirements, or if it's like just like an added bonus.
It will be. We really want to ensure that we address summer learning loss.
Not for the school year grant. So for the summer grants, learning loss is a requirement because of the hours per day. But for the school year, we're not making the learning loss or the academic component a subject, like a core requirement of the grant program. And that's because some grantees, the dosage is a minimum of 1 hour a week. And so it's more of it's an addition to, but the social emotional learning is just as important as the academic, based on conversations with this commission and from other OST providers, that the academic recovery is not going to be a core component of the grant program in the fall for the school year grant.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I like that. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, because I know that learning loss has been a big topic of conversation, but I also didn't want to lose that whole social emotional and character development and all the other things that our out of school time programs provide, just so that we, obviously we all want to aid in the learning loss recovery, but not lose the other aspects that the kids gain from these programs.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
This is Heather. I have a couple of questions. The first is around the reviewers. Is there a description of the requirements or responsibilities or something that we could share with our networks?
There is.
Okay.
I apologize. I'm having some difficulties. I think I'm good now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes. So can it be sent to us?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great. And then my second question, and this might tie into the learning loss, the acceleration academies. Can you just describe? I haven't been following all the ins and outs of the public school system. So can you just describe what that is and how the summer programs are? What does that mean that they're tying into the acceleration academies?
So I think it will look different depending on what type of programming the principal and our grantee decide. I think most generally our grantees will be providing wraparound support, maybe additional hours outside of the academic time for school. So, right, to like extend the school day in by way of like a traditional after school program. Now, I'm just saying that as like the most general basic idea. Schools and our grantees will inevitably come up with different types of partnerships in the way that the schedule works. But that is one, and I think it will be the most general, as you know, grantees extend the day a lot of times for working families, and you know, as they're going back in person.
Okay, so just to clarify, so the acceleration academies are essentially like summer school, and the community organizations will just be partnering on a school by school basis, kind of structuring their program kind of depending on kind of what's needed for that particular school.
Yes, I would say absolutely in the most general sense. Yes. Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other additional questions for the OST office? I think we have one discussion question that we would like to ask the commissioners. Lania?
We do. So the one discussion question that we wanted to ask is, how do we deploy support and resources across the district outside of pivoting, providing additional grant funding, right? So if there are, we want to discuss ideas on how OST might be able to scale and expand, right? So how do we scale and expand using support and resources that aren't additional grant funding? Maybe capacity building and other ideas that we wanted to put out there and receive feedback from our commissioners on that question. And I don't want to give too many more examples, just so I don't take away the sort of thought process. Mila, do we want to have everyone sort of respond right in the chat? What's the best way for us to engage in the discussion?
I think we can open up for commissioners, but as we're thinking about post-pandemic, as providers are going back to in-person, part of the support as we think about scale and expanding is just returning back to the classroom, getting up to scale to where they were post or pre-pandemic in terms of serving children, right? There's a lot of barriers and thinking about how they start to return to in-person programming. We know capacity, cohorting, and so we just open to the commissioner, and we want to make sure that we're thinking about it from our office. If additional, if we were to think about if we'll see what happens to the budget, but if additional resources were available, besides just increasing grants, which is what we typically do, should we be thinking about other ways to offer support for scaling and expansion?
Mila, I wonder if there are trauma issues and readjustment issues, that the commission can provide resources for the programs. I mean, I know that there's been some research on the traumatic effects of the pandemic on kids and families, and I wonder if there's a role that the commission can play in terms of the readjustment process and give some best practices to the nonprofits, because I imagine that it's going to be very hard on everybody, staff, board, and the young people themselves, in terms of moving back into a classroom when everybody's been spending a year home, for better or for worse.
Yes, and I will continue to listen and take notes. So trauma, readjustment processes and supports.
I don't know if this is a barrier, so I'm curious to hear from some of the providers on the commission, but I'm wondering if transportation is a challenge, especially since, you know, Metro and the buses have scaled back on service and, you know, routes and that sort of thing. And so I'm wondering if that's an access barrier for many young people.
So to answer that question, I would say in general, transportation has always been a challenge for a lot of young people. And after school programs, I imagine that that would be even more challenging after COVID. But I think that overall, it's always been a challenge, like transportation.
I'm curious too, has this question been asked yet to grantees? I'd be curious to hear what they have to say.
Sorry, this question was not directly asked to grantees, and it was asked to providers the other day when the deputy mayor was on a convening with other OST providers, with the OST coalition in particular, but we didn't collect response. So we taking that question to the commission, and then we will go from there. But this is the first place we thought we would ask the question.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have plenty of ideas, but I am kind of curious as to I feel like I'm too far away to really know the direct need as much. So
we will speak with you then after the commission meeting to get your ideas, but we would just love to hear it from the office. Again, multiple perspective helps us consider how we allocate resources, how we design programs, how we utilize the Institute for Professional Development. So there's just a lot of things we like to keep top of mind, and we want to make sure that we're not forgetting something critical or important.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the exact feedback you're looking for, but you know, I think a lot of providers are gonna be struggling with, am I providing an environment or space that is up to standard, you know, as it relates to safety during this transition. So I don't know if this is in the domain of you know, DME or you know, OST office, but just like some kind of guidelines that are, you know, not so specific that like people getting dinged all over the place, but just some kind of baseline of like, okay, well, as you think about transitioning back to in-person programming, like here's generally what precautions you should be taking and what, you know, your programming should look like in this new environment. Another, I don't know if PPE is something that, you know, there's you know, some kind of carve out that could be available to assist providers with PPE, because, you know, while there is, you know, a accelerating vaccine rollout, that doesn't mean that people will just be, you know, moving and operating freely without masks, etc. So I think that's one thing that comes to mind. Also, and again, this will vary pretty widely especially because OST programming varies widely. But I would imagine that providers are going to be doing a lot of communicating with families and guardians as to what they're doing to keep young people safe. And if there's some, FAQ templates or something that could help things go a little bit smoothly for providers, that may be one less thing that people have to worry about, or that they can take and sort of adapt to their own programming. But those are just a couple of random thoughts.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Those are the updates for the OST office. And if you come up with any additional ideas, we are happy to add that to the list as we consider ways that we continue to support the OST sector. Commissioner Chairperson Peacock, I'm passing it back to you.
Thank you for that update. Okay, excellent discussion. So the main commission updates are that a few of us are in the reappointment process and can continue to participate while this process continues. So just for the record, that is Commissioner Hecker, Commissioner Siegel, Commissioner Heel, Commissioner Taylor, and myself. So we're just going through that process to get reappointed as commissioners. So just so everyone's on the same page. That's pretty much the bulk of it. Commissioners, did anyone have any additional business or comments to make? Okay. And all right. Well, yeah, if there are no additional comments, our next public meeting is, I believe, 2 months from today. Okay, great. So yep, that is, get the calendar out officially. This looks like May 27th. Does that sound about right? So, okay.
Yes, Deborah's shaking her head. So she sets the calendar.
Great, thank you very much. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Sounds good. Well, yep. If there are no other questions or concerns, may we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Seafax. All right, any seconds?
A second.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Okay, those who approve the adjournment, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any who oppose? Okay. Are there any who abstain? Well, looks like the motion carries unanimously. So commissioners, thank you all for your time. Thank you for the great discussion today. Looks like we finished up a little bit early. So great work, everyone.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Commissioner. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.